This is Professor X, and I am giving my WWE Evolution review. I actually thought this show was really, really solid. Starting the show, the first thing I noticed was the crowd being completely blacked out and that sole spotlight being on the ring. I like that. I dig it. WWE typically does not do that. At least I've never seen them ever actually do that, except for maybe house shows. But when it's actually pay-per-views and broadcasting TV, they're always, getting good shots of the crowd. So I thought that was kind of a good touch, just to, keep everybody focused that this is what we're doing. This is the women's evolution. This is the women's wrestling that everybody should be focused on. So I dug it. I enjoyed it. And, moving on to the first match, we saw Trish and Lita versus Mickie James and Alicia Fox. And just like I said in my predictions, Mickie James and Alicia Fox tag teaming together on paper. This was the first match of the show. So maybe they moved it around and just to have maybe some star power open in the show. I don't know. The match was well, it wasn't a show stealer or anything like that. Trish and Lita were really trying to get their signature stuff in that they were known for doing. And they had all the offense really for majority of the match. They had really all their own offense. Mickie James and Alicia Fox really didn't do much, especially Alicia Fox. She really didn't do much or really showcase anything. Mickie James at least landed some shots in. To Trish because of their history together. Now there was a weird spot that happened though when Trish actually hit this Stratisfaction off the top rope. She did the Stratisfaction. She landed it. It was clean. Went for a cover up, and the ref literally could have counted to 4 or 5, but instead paused for Alicia Fox to come in and actually interrupt the count, which was weird because literally, if you would have had the ref, if you would have put a camera to the ref, he would have had his hand in the air waiting for Alicia Fox. That, for whatever reason, those two just were ill-timed. The cues were wrong, or maybe it was just Alicia Fox that just didn't understand what was happening at that particular point. But that was very noticeable. But that's again, yeah, that was on Alicia. There shouldn't have been anybody else but her because she should have known that this was what was happening at that point. But anyways, Trish, landing her shots and everything. Actually, in Lita with the moonsault and Trish with her, chick for kick and all that for the win. It was a fine match. It was okay. It was to be expected what they were doing and just to get it kicked off. Okay. And next was the Battle Royal, which I actually thought the Battle Royal was going to open the show. I thought that would have been a little bit better of a position to start the show. But so they did the Battle Royal. Everybody got a chance to really come in, except for Naomi. She actually had all the time to actually to actually walk out to her music and everything. So I actually thought because of the entrance that she had, that she was actually going to end up and taking the Battle Royal. That wasn't the case. And it did actually ended up being Nia Jax being the winner. I thought it was okay with Nia Jax winning. She was part of the top 5 that I thought was going to win it. They were teasing Ember Moon, winning. I mean, she was in there going against Nia Jax for majority of that, or actually the actual ending there. And it looked like she was really going to get this. She was really going to get it over on Nia Jax, and that would have been a good thing for her to really get jumped off and maybe starting a thing going with Ronda Rousey. I do want to backtrack just 1 second. In the Battle Royal, there was this 7-person suplex, which was pretty cool. As far as a spot, to show all the women that just doing something cool during the match. How many times are you going to have that many women in one ring? Doing something of that nature. So it was cool seeing a 7-person suplex, and the only thing about it was just that it kind of took a little too long. It looked like they all got situated, and then they started having a group huddle for 2 minutes, and then they actually finally did it. But it was fine. It was good. It looked cool, to see it anyway, and to see it anyway. So it was nice. Nia Jax winning, it's fine. what I want from Nia Jax here, though, is that, okay, I want to know, are you booking her as a heel or are you booking her as a face? Because she flip-flops just like the Big Show. She just flip-flops back and forth, because honestly, when she was champ, she was heel. She did this heel thing going against Ronda when Ronda took the title off her. And then now, since coming back, from her injury or whatever it was, she was kind of doing this thing with Era Moon, and now she's the face. At the end of the show, and I don't mean to jump too far forward, but at the end of the show, we see a clip of her, and she's giving this nasty snarl, and I'm like, okay, so is she going to be heel now again, or what's happening here? I just want her character to be more solid and more steady, okay? Now, the next, we have the Mae Young Classic final, Io Shirai versus Toni Storm. And, oh, man, this match was serious, and I dug it. It was really, really good. Both of these women were just outstanding in the match. Io Shirai, she just... It's crazy to think about it just because of how the stature, and... with that old saying, big things come in small packages, right? So, Io Shirai did this crazy moonsault to Storm, from the top rope to the ground, and I'm glad that she didn't do this suicide dive or anything like that. It was a clean moonsault coming off there, and I think that, and I'm gonna drift off here for just 1 second. I think. The suicide dive, too many people do it, and it's so overdone and so overplayed, and people are getting injured from it because it's not one of those moves that you need to keep doing all the time here. Okay, so let me go back here. Io, it kind of looked like she was going to tease going through a suicide dive, but she just ran up to the top rope and just did a moonsault. And it looked really cool. I dug it. And then Storm actually came back and did this stiff German suplex to Io on the ring apron. That shook me. I mean, I popped for that. It was a stiff German suplex, and it was a great match going on there. It was a good pace. They kept letting in their shots and they were working real stiff, and I dug it. You believed it. And for the finisher here, Io goes for her finisher, being the moonsault. But Storm gets the knees up, and gets the knees up, and then she does her finisher, which they call it the Storm Zero, and which is just a version of a power bomb. It's just a different version of a power bomb. She kind of wraps her hands up like as if it was going for a pedigree, but ends up actually flipping her over, doing a power bomb, a sit down power bomb, and it was a great finisher. And she gets the win. Toni Storm gets the win, and it was great. I actually went back and watched the actual semis of the Mae Young Classic, so I can see these two women and what they were bringing to the table. And Toni Storm, she delivered it then, she's delivering it now. She was runner-up last year, and now she's champ this year, right? So it was a great thing. It was awesome. She did a wonderful job. Both of them did. And after this, we have Riot Squad versus Bayley, Natalya, and Sasha. This is one of those matches that I just didn't really feel really invested in anyways. It was just another match that you had to have these women in. You really couldn't do much with them anyways. And Riot Squad, they're always tag teaming together in the bigger events, I guess, but they're always doing them individuals in the actual either the live or the TV versions. But anyways, it was a good match. It was fine. It's just coming right after Io and Tony. I don't think many people were as into that match. It was fine. It was a good match. It was decent. Now Sasha, she's one of those workers that is dangerous to herself. And it just, she did this particular move where it looked like she was going to do this suicide dive, and she's terrible at these suicide dives because she always does something incorrectly, and she can just either paralyze herself or hurt herself or something. Okay. But she does this thing where she looks like she's going to do a suicide dive, and instead she actually is trying to jump over the top rope, but she couldn't get her hips up, ends up, the top rope ends up hitting her hips, and she kind of bounces off, and it damn near looked like she was about to get decapitated by the ring apron. But instead, the Riot Squad ended up catching her, and then they just kind of drilled her into the guardrail, which was fine. It was cool. I think they were able to take a lot of that weight off, so she didn't really put all that pressure on her neck, because she would have. I mean, she really would have been out. She would have been down if she would have actually ended up hitting it as hard as it looked like she was about to hit it. Now, that was a cool thing as far as them catching her and doing that. Sasha's just one of those workers. She's just dangerous to herself, and she just needs to understand what she can or can't do to her body. She needs to understand what her limits are and what her body can't do. So, anyways, keep going on in this match. We actually see Sasha on the defense. She's laying down. It looked like, and it actually looked like Ruby Riott was actually going to go for like maybe a double stomp or, on her. And Bayley comes out of nowhere and covers Sasha, which just looked weird. It looked like you're trying to protect a puppy or something here. Like you're covering her up. Like, oh my God, don't hurt my friend. Come on, man. Let's get going here. We moved on from this. This is women's wrestling. You don't need to be protecting each other like this. We're not. We're trying to get this over here. And she covers it up. Ruby goes for it anyways. She gets Bayley on the back with a double stomp, and get her out of the way, whatever. Eventually, Sasha gets able to get to Natalya. Natalya didn't really do much in this match. She really didn't do anything until later on. She actually did this double sharpshooter, which during it just looks weird trying to do it, and there's just no way that you actually can believe that you're putting a lot of pressure on these women, doing this double sharpshooter. It's crazy. Come on now. Get real. But anyway, she does it. It looked cool, whatever. And then we see Natalya going for a powerbomb, and then we see Bayley going for her big elbow, Macho Man elbow, and then we see Sasha going for a frog splash. So it was all good. Each one of them had a big move, and then they ended up getting the win. Sasha with that frog splash got the win, and it was a fine match. Again, I'm not big on the entire Riot Squad. I wish it was just Ruby. I think maybe a match with Ruby and Bayley, or maybe actually just Ruby and Bayley, because Natalya is good, but I don't think she needs to. I think she needs to just kind of, I don't know, not necessarily package, but she just needs to do something else here to kind of get some more heat on her, maybe either going heel or staying heel or something, because she also flip flops back and forth. Now after this match, we have Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler, and this is the first time we see NXT on a WWE main roster promotion. Now this match was, again, one of those other ones. Kairi Sane, Shayna Baszler, last year's Mae Young Classic Finals, and Kairi Sane, won that one. And now, we see this match here unfold, and it's another one of those great matches. Stiff. I mean, that's the way this women's wrestling needs to be. Stiff. I mean, they're laying their shots in, and that's what matters. You gotta believe this stuff. And Shayna Baszler, without a doubt, she's good, and I actually didn't think. And let me back up here. Shayna Baszler ended up winning. She won with a rear naked choke. I should think they call it the Barracuda clutch. But she did have to have some help with the other horsewomen to get the win over Kairi Sane. But what I was going to say was that Shayna, I honestly didn't think she was going to win, because I feel like she's ready to go to the main roster. I think she's that good and that's strong to just push her up, give her the push, get her up there already, and let her work through the ranks and get to whoever you're putting her. I mean, I would assume that she's going to end up going to Raw, and have her work something against Ronda. I think it would be cool. Seeing those two go at it. But like I was saying, Kairi Sane, Shayna Baszler, it was a great match. It was kind of a way really just to get everything back going to the way we want it to be. The way we want the women's style of wrestling to become. And it was stiff, and it was great. After this match, we had Charlotte versus Becky. Becky being the champ. And you know what? TLC came early because, wow, I didn't think that they were going to do... I mean, with the kendo sticks, chairs, ladders, tables, right? And it was great. I mean, they had the best match of the night because of how much they took each other to the limit. And they just did not let off each other. And that's when you know that these two have something here, when they trust each other and know each other, that they're going to do whatever they can to each other because they trust the other person to do it the right way. Okay? And it was a great match. And it was just, I honestly thought somebody was going to end up busted open and we were going to see some type of a crimson mask or something. It was that stiff and that gnarly of a match that it was unreal, in many different ways. There was a spot where Charlotte actually delivers this back suplex to Becky on some chairs. That just got it started. And then we see, we actually saw Becky Lynch doing a different, or actually she did a body slam to Charlotte on a ladder. I'm like, you would never see this type of match with women before. And we got to see it here, and it was great. What's actually interesting, though, is that Charlotte was getting booed, throughout most of the match. Every time she was getting or starting her babyface, coming back, and she was just getting booed from the crowd. Nobody wanted her to go ahead and make this comeback, People want Becky to win, And at the end of the whole thing, I honestly thought it was going to be maybe a double turn. I thought we were going to have Becky again as the face and Charlotte as the heel. It literally looked like it was going to go that way. And, another spot that happened in that match, which what you don't see it's pretty rare that you see this, but Charlotte actually went with her moonsault after setting Becky up on a table, and she overshot the moonsault and ended up just getting hands on Becky. And it's just one of those things that just happened. Becky set up the table. She just didn't set it up the right way or at the right distance, and Charlotte just overshot it. It happens. She actually just got back up, set Becky back on the table again, moved the table just a little bit farther out, and just went for a senton, and then she landed that one. So it was fine. She did what she did. It was fine. You got to keep moving on. The point is getting her through that damn table. She ended up doing it. Now, one thing that also did end up happening was Becky tapped in the match. Now, again, this is the last woman standing match, so tapping doesn't do anything for you. So why they would even think about putting that particular move, that figure eight move, into the match, I don't get it, because that's not gonna. I didn't think that was really gonna set anything up. So Becky tapped, but it didn't matter. What was interesting, why I bring that up, is because even though Becky tapped and she was trying to get out of this hold, she was too far away from anything, from the ropes or from any of the items or the weapons that were in there. The ref, actually, if you look, the ref ended up kicking a chair closer to Becky for her to even grab it, because she was really that far away and she needed help from somebody. So, referee Mike Chioda, he just, kicked the chair real, like as if the camera wasn't on him, and maybe I guess he had a twitch, right, and he just kicked the chair to him, whatever. But it was fine, it happens. It's one of those spots, and after that happened, the ladies, they ended up going outside the ring again, and what it looked like Charlotte was going to set up doing another move, maybe another moonsault or something off the ladder to the announcer's table. We actually see Becky doing a double leg drop to the announcer table. on Charlotte, and it was again, tables. People, fans pop for tables. It's great, and Charlotte gets up again from that one, and to finish it, when it actually led up to the finisher, Charlotte gets up for that one. She gets a couple. She looks like she's going to make her comeback again, and what it looks like, she sets up another table, lays Becky down on it, and it looks like she was actually going to go back up to the top rope and do another moonsault from the top rope to Becky on a table on the bottom, at floor level. Instead, Becky gets up and power bombs her through that table, and Becky retains with that. Charlotte just couldn't get up from that one, and that was another, hard landing for anybody to take, but for the women, they're just not, especially the women that we have here currently on the WWE, they don't take bumps like that, and we're going to see them doing it more and more. Becky retains. It was a good match. I mean, this to me was the best match of the night. In the aspect that, we had all the tables, ladders, and chairs, which is great, but really it's the fact that these two trusted each other enough and laid everything in there. They did not, they just did not ease up on each other, and that's what matters. Work stiff, make your shit believable, get it in there, let everybody have their day, and don't hold anything back. And that's what you got to do here. And that's what they delivered. They did the best match, and they delivered the best match tonight. So going after this match, we have Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella. And again, to me, Nikki Bella, she's just there for star power. She doesn't, you can make an argument, I guess, that, Nikki Bella needs to be there because she is part of the Evolution, right? Okay. I don't believe that, but, you can say whatever you want. Nikki Bella just doesn't, she's not in the same league as these other women that we're seeing now. But, during the match, Ronda, we actually seeing her talking a lot of shit, to Nikki Bella, which is cool. That's what she's been doing to a lot of the other women as well, during her matches, just talking shit and just, making it more personal, which I like. It's good. Ronda sold really, really well for Nikki Bella because, I guess you really needed to, because you didn't want this to be a squash match, and you didn't want Nikki Bella to look weak, because that's going to hurt her brand. And I guess WWE put a lot of money into Nikki as well. So, I mean, you can't have her squash her either. So, Ronda sold incredibly well for Nikki and Brie, because they were both, doing their twin magic, as they call it, to Ronda, and it was a good match. I mean, obviously, I rather would have had Charlotte and Becky close the show, but I understand Ronda, being Ronda, that's who you need to close the show. As I said, it was a good match, and it was a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. I just thought that Nikki was going to end up, maybe botching some moves and not being on time with Ronda. And in the end, Nikki was able to, land her Rack Attack 2.0, and we see, she tried everything she could against Ronda. And of course, Ronda's not going to, she's not going to lose to Nikki. So once playtime was over, Ronda goes ahead and says, okay, I'm tired of doing this for you. Let's go ahead and close this bitch out. And just does her armbar and makes her tap out, and so that's it. Get this bitch off the show, Nikki, and let's move on. Let's keep going here. Let's advance on this story with somebody else. Let's advance Ronda's story. And that was, like I said, that was the closing of the night. And at the end of the whole thing, we actually see all the women coming out, and we have Ronda Rousey at the center. And then Becky as well comes out at the center. So now they're both holding up their Raw Women's title and SmackDown Women's title. It was a great, actually, photo shoot right there. That was a great little promo picture. So it was nice. It was good to see it. The actual pay-per-view overall was out. I thought it was a lot better than anybody could have expected. It was really good. As a product overall, on a 5-star scale, you would give that a 4. It was really that good. I mean, all the women were able to tell, pretty good stories in each of their matches and make their own matches their own, and not just be, a fashion show or anything like that. Everybody was out there trying to one up each other and do something, So yeah, it was a great show, and hats off to all the women there. They all did a great job. So hopefully, we see more women's wrestling and a lot of the other pay-per-views, and once we get a clearer picture after Crown Jewel, we'll see what's going to happen at Survivor Series. Again, this is my review for the Evolution pay-per-view. This is Professor X, class dismissed.